Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Casks-n-Que, where whiskey and barbecue meet. I'm your host, Justin Lloyd, and today is our first full whiskey review, and I have with me Quentin May. We're gonna get through this thing, and we're gonna review Old Forester 1910 and 1920, so we'll be back in just a second. So this video today is sponsored by Stephen Reynolds Mortgage with Eagle Bank. If you're in the southeast region of the United States and you're looking to refinance, you just want to get maybe an estimate on what your home value is, or if you're looking for a new mortgage completely, then be sure and click the link below. I've included it in the description box. He's been gracious enough to provide some of the whiskey that we're tasting today. So we're lucky to have him as a sponsor. So be sure and check out StephenReynoldsMortgage.com.
Okay, so when Justin approached me about doing this first of his whiskey tastings with him, we talked about some of the different offerings we could maybe get into, and I suggested the Old Forester line because I knew that he wasn't real experienced with them, and I've heard a little urban legend about some of these Old Forester bourbons that we'll get into in a little bit later that I want to try. So today we're going to start with the 1910. This is one of the many Old Forester bourbons that they offer. They have several. This one, as the story goes, Old Forester is one of the oldest distilleries, continuous operating distilleries in the country. And the story goes that in 1910, which was pre-prohibition, there was a fire or some type of industrial accident on one of their bottling lines. And so they couldn't bottle whiskey, but they had all this bourbon sitting around that needed to be barreled.
Right.
Either bottled or barreled, or it would go to waste. And so what they chose to do was barrel it a second time. And so this is a twice barreled bourbon. And what they discovered after pulling it out is it created a totally different whiskey than what they were producing originally, and they decided to keep it. So this is a twice barreled bourbon. It's barreled at 100 proof, the second barreling. And then it's bottled at 93 proof. By all accounts, the lower proof and the second barreling is supposed to give it a lot more of the wood sugars and the color and the caramel flavors, and smooth it up a lot. So let's get into it and see what it's all about.
Let's do it. All right, Q, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Me first, of course.
I expected nothing less from you.
Yeah. Well, you know. So what would you say the color is on this guy?
I mean, it's almost like an auburn, but there's definitely some red.
There is.
It's darker than a lot of bourbons.
It is.
You know, I guess single barrel bourbons.
Yep.
Well, barreled only one time. So
I think auburn's a good description.
Maybe a dark amber. The legs on it are really impressive. It holds really well.
It does. So on the nose. Right away, some butterscotch for me.
Almost. It's a little fruity, but not like citrusy. Maybe
almost
peach.
like some dark fruits, maybe, or is that what you're kind of getting at?
Maybe peach or pear.
Okay.
Not even pear, maybe peach. But a little bit the butterscotch. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the butterscotch jumps out at me. The creamy butterscotch flavor. Maybe some baking spices way in the back.
I mean, I guess to be expected at 93 proof, it doesn't smell hot.
No, not at all.
It's
a very pleasant nose, very mild.
Yeah, almost like, you know, when Grandma was baking cookies or something of some kind.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So on the palate.
This is really good.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
I get cocoa, like the cocoa powder, not like the cheap chocolate like from Hershey's or something like that, but like a, well, still cheap, but like cocoa powder. It has a little bit more of a dark flavor to it.
Like a Heath bar almost. Chocolate
Yeah,
with toffee.
yeah. Kind of a toffee Heath bar kind of thing going on.
There's no heat on this at all.
No. As a matter of fact, one of the first things that pops in my mind is this would be a great introductory whiskey for somebody that's probably a little bit scared or just had a bad experience.
Yeah,
with
not
bourbon.
used to maybe the foolproof whiskeys or the barrel proof. This is really nice. I like this.
And especially in our market, we're in Arkansas. I think we picked this up for about $49. And these days, that's pretty good. There's something else in there, but I can't pinpoint it. I don't know if I said baking spices yet. But I get some of that in the back.
On the finish, on the linger, on the finish at the end, there's just a little bit of, and it's not so much pepper.
I see what you're saying.
There's a little bit of spice just on the finish, on the back, on the linger. And it's not like a rye spice.
No, it's not harsh like that.
No.
It's just a real pleasant,
real smooth.
It lets you know it's 93 proof, which
like I say, go back to Grandma's cookies.
Yeah,
that's exactly what this reminds me of.
And the viscosity on this is
it's actually really nice.
Yeah,
it holds well.
It's got good legs.
Yep.
It's a good bourbon. For $49.
For $50, this is a great bottle of whiskey right here.
Totally agree. The 1920 Old Forester is bottled at 115. During Prohibition, it was law that nothing could be bottled, no bourbon, no whiskey could be bottled, above 100 proof.
Actually, it was law that no whiskey could be bottled at all. That's the whole point of Prohibition.
Touche. So, like Quentin said, no whiskey could be bottled at all, and there were only 6 distilleries that were allowed to bottle whiskey, and Old Forester was one of them, and it was for medicinal purposes. That one's kind of unique in that regard. Again, so this one is bottled now at 115 proof, which is kind of a nod to the old days when, they would originally have it, it would mature at 115, and they would have to bottle it at 100. So they had to, dilute it somehow, water or whatever their process was at that time, to make it legal. So, what am I missing?
I don't know. Let's drink it.
Let's drink it.
All right, we'll see what we got here.
I think the color on this one may be a little bit lighter.
I think you're right, actually, and that may be due to the double barreling, maybe, of the 1910. Gives
maybe
it a little more exposure to the wood. But,
yeah.
This one is rather than an Auburn, this one's more of a true amber.
For sure. As a matter of fact, I'm not great with my colors, but I would say that that's almost it's almost like a dark gold.
Yeah.
The legs seem to be about the same as the 1910.
Ooh, okay, I can smell the 115 on this one for sure.
Jumps out at you.
But immediately I smell cherry.
Oh, me too. That's crazy. Like chocolate covered cherries?
Yeah, well, maybe it's more of a
cocoa and
maybe a dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Definitely not creamy like the 10 was. This one's a lot.
No, it's more in your face.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I still get the baking spices.
Yeah, but they're more subtle here. This is more of a. This is just a little hotter all around. It's not nearly Grandma's cookies.
No,
in this one at all.
And when you say hotter, in my opinion anyway, it's not in a bad way.
No, not at all.
The alcohol delivers the more of a full flavor on the nose anyway. Definitely a difference in the palate.
This is a totally different
whiskey.
Which is crazy. This was the recipe that they would have used back then before they double barreled it.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different whiskey. This one's got more, it's got a little bit more of a citrus rather than a creamy.
Yes.
There's cherry and maybe pear.
I get the pear.
Maybe apple. I don't think so much as lemon or anything like that, but maybe a little bit of apple or pear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's really smooth and I hate to use that term, but I mean, you don't get the Kentucky hug like you would expect on a 115. For a 115, it drinks really easy.
It does. Now you can definitely tell it's a little bigger boy than the 1910.
It for sure is. And for only $10 extra.
Yeah.
In our market.
I think this one was 59.
Yeah.
So
paid 49 for the other one.
And so, once again, this is an outstanding bourbon for those of you who probably like, the more barrel proof or cask strength whiskeys. This is your guy right here.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in here. Allspice, almost a little charcoal, maybe a little bit of finish.
I would say that there's definitely some oak, oak spice.
Yeah, charred oak on the back end.
I think on the 1910, the prevalent note to me was the butterscotch, but I don't know that I even get that.
No, this one just doesn't have that warm, chewy. This is more of a.
It's more of a mature whiskey drinker's whiskey.
Yes, that's the exact words I was about to say. This is a whiskey drinker's whiskey right here. The charcoal and oak on the finish it's not bitter at all. It needs a nice linger
I agree.
right there on right in the back of your throat.
For $59, that's a steal.
I've definitely paid a lot more for worse whiskey.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is outstanding. If you've heard some of our comparisons, I guess, to the 1910. I tend to, and I think you're the same way. We tend to, I don't know if it's because we're just old drunks or if we consider experienced whiskey drinkers.
We're seasoned.
We tend to gravitate towards the full proofs, the higher proofs. Although they're both outstanding bourbons.
But that's not to say that every single higher proof or cask strength or barrel strength whiskey is necessarily better than some of its lower proof. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm with you.
If I were to pick which one my personal favorite is, I'd probably go the 1920. However, I could drink the 1910 every day and be perfectly happy with it. They're both outstanding. And something about that extra barreling process turns it into a completely different juice.
I mean, there's still stuff going on right here on my tongue. The viscosity is there.
This one lasts a long time.
Lasts a lot longer. It lingers.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the price, like we said earlier, for $59 in our local market. That could be a good daily drinker. I normally wouldn't go above $50 or $60 for a daily drinker, but I think I would for this one.
Yeah. Okay, folks. So there we have the 1910, the 1920, the kind of urban legend 1915, which I think you and I both kind of agree we liked it a little better. It was kind of best of both worlds.
I thought it was the best of both worlds. For sure.
In my research, looking through, trying to learn a little bit about it, I saw some references to some people saying that this 1915 bears an uncanny resemblance to another extremely famous Old Forester bourbon known as the Birthday Bourbon. Those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's an extremely rare and super expensive bottle of Old Forester bourbon. I've never had it. I don't know if you
I haven't. Nope.
But it's because it's ridiculous. If you can even find a bottle, it's ridiculously expensive. So, although we'd love to be able to compare the two and see if the old urban legend that they're very similar is true, I guess we're probably not going to be able to do that.
Or are we? So again, I just want to plug our sponsor once again, Stephen Reynolds Mortgage. Be sure to stay fly. So he was able to provide us with this bottle today. Otherwise, we would not have been able to review this one for you. So if you have any mortgage needs, any questions about your mortgage, then be sure and check out the description box below, StephenReynoldsMortgage.com.
We've each got a little bit of the 1915 from prior left. We mixed up a little more and put in here. Then we're going to pour just a small. We don't want to obviously drink up all of his Well, I mean, we kind of do want to.
Kind of want to, but you know, I have to answer to him. So
in the interest of common decency, we probably shouldn't drink all of his whiskey. We're going to pour a little bit of the birthday
decency,
and then we're going to taste them next to the. First, I think what we'll do is we'll try the birthday.
Yeah.
Kind of give you a quick rundown of what we think of it, and then maybe compare it to the 1915 and see what we think.
Let's do it. Yep. So it's an annual release.
This is the 2020. It's released on September 2nd, 2020 every year in honor of the founder, George Garvin Brown's birthday.
Look at you go.
Well, I read it on the site a minute ago.
Damn, internet.
So,
it's the information highway,
yeah.
In case you haven't heard.
Could be fake news.
Fake news. So, do we want to bore the audience with a little bit of a description of the birthday bourbon?
Sure, go right ahead.
I love boring people. I'm good at it. So the proof is 98. Color is dusty topaz. Any of you know what that means?
Topaz, isn't it?
Topaz? Is that a thing?
It's like a gemstone or something.
That's fucking stupid. All right. Aroma. A nuanced balance of white floral notes, magnolia and citrus, spiced vanilla, buttery leather, and cocoa powder. Countering the spice and sprinkles of brown sugar, white chocolate shavings, caramel drizzle, and hints of tropical fruit. So the taste is caramel, or is it caramel? Yeah, tomato. And brittle toffee lead. Lead? Words are hard.
How does lead taste?
Probably terrible.
I hope that it doesn't taste like...
Let's go with lead. So toffee lead, as the tropical character blooms into banana, mango, coconut flakes, and macadamia nut. And so the finish is long and delicately drying with a hint of anise, A-N-I-S-E. I don't even know what that means.
It's a little herb. A lot of places will like roast it to make
drinks. That's why I pay him the big bucks to be here.
Yeah.
It's like a walking dictionary.
It's shaped like a star. It's like a little
yeah. So Old Forester's annual release is an annual release. It's an expression of its highly acclaimed bourbon to celebrate the September 2nd birthday of its creator, George Garvin Brown.
Yep.
So this year's birthday bourbon marks the 20th limited edition release, selected from a single day of production and hand-selected by master distiller Chris Morris and master taster Jake. This is gonna be a good one. Master taster Jackie Zykan. Z-Y-K-A-N. Why did I get all the hard words? This sucks. This limited edition small batch bourbon is vintage dated, offering a one-of-a-kind character and flavor profile that will never be replicated.
And this is the 2020 edition, right?
That's right. Yes. Words again? Yeah, 2020.
Limited bottling 2020.
Yep.
All right. So once again, we're extremely lucky that our good buddy Stephen Reynolds over at Eagle Bank.
My good buddy.
Well, he's my good buddy now. He always lets me win at poker too. So
he's a terrible poker player.
Let's us try this. And so I'm really excited about trying this.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm as experienced a whiskey taster to come up with all the. It's almost like they just picked all of the things and put them in there.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to give you the fancy pants review, but we're going to do our best.
Yeah, why don't you do the honors?
Ooh, fancy.
Nice.
I don't know about you, but this founder guy, what was his name?
George Garvin Brown.
George Garvin Brown is a handsome fella. Here we go. Don't worry, Stephen. I'm taking it easy. He's probably crying in his boots right now. Oh, why'd I let those guys borrow that? Oh, I spilled some. Don't worry.
This is definitely floral, but almost a little warm floral. What are the,
Ooh, that's fancy.
like
that's good.
Like the
there's depth and complexion in that nose for sure. In full disclosure, I'm a Scotch guy first and foremost, and I kind of think right? Kind of.
Well,
you are too, or used to be.
I
Starting to transition a little bit.
I'm a big Scotch fan. I'm
a lot
really
of that going
just,
around.
I just drink whatever I can get my hands on.
This is buttery on the nose to me.
It's almost more
Brown sugar and like butter, melted butter.
The brown sugar is there, but it's all. I mean, there's definitely some tropical flowers in there. Honeysuckle maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's something floral right across the top.
Something floral for sure. Yeah.
And then that brown sugar.
But for me, that brown sugar.
Yeah, that's definitely in there. It's almost like a base of brown sugar with just a little honeysuckle over the top.
Right. Wow, that's a really complex nose.
You know, and it's a much lighter than the 1910.
Yeah, it's almost a light golden.
Yeah, it's a more of a true amber, similar to the 20.
Yeah.
It's not real got that deep dark hue to it.
And I'm really excited to be able to try this bourbon.
Yeah, me too. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Oh my goodness.
That's ridiculous. I don't even know how to put that into words. He's an attorney, so he has all the words. I just sell stuff.
I mean, I don't know if any whiskey is worth the amount of money it would take to buy one of these if you ever saw one.
Yeah.
But if there is one, this might be it.
I've had for sure. I've had some higher end whiskey. Well, I mean, what I would consider higher end whiskeys. You know, some of the Pappies, some of the old. What's that one I have? Some of the old Fitzgeralds. Cask Strength, Angel's Envy. Just a bunch of other ones.
The rare and limited.
Rare and limited, yeah.
So
this is.
This, I'll tell you what, I get right on the initial palate is just it's almost like fresh leather. Not old worn out leather, a little bit
A
little bit of fresh leather.
Ron Burgundy has many leather-bound books.
And some spice, fresh leather and spice, but there's still that kind of overtone of something floral, honeysuckle or whatever it is.
To me, it's in the back.
Yeah, it's out in the background, and then the finishes out with almost pepper on the end.
Excuse my Kentucky Jew. Smacky.
You know, I've drank.
Man, that is so balanced. But I will say, Stephen, don't take this the wrong way. I will say on the back end, it might be lacking a little bit.
It doesn't linger as long as
it doesn't linger like you would expect.
It dissipates pretty quickly.
It does.
It's not bad.
No, not at all.
Doesn't leave anything acrid or unpleasant. It doesn't
linger like you would expect a whiskey of that caliber to linger, in my opinion.
But I'll tell you, I've drank the Pappy with you.
Yeah.
I've had some other, what people consider the, ultra premium, some bourbons over the years. Mm-hmm. This is right up there.
Oh, it's right up there with it,
if it's not the best, it's right up there with one of the top.
As far as
I've ever had.
Yeah, as far as the flavor profile, I would rank it up there with the best that I've had.
Yeah.
The best, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I would say that the one thing, like with Old Fitzgerald 14. One of the things I love about that particular whiskey, not to get off track here, but that one has a really long finish. The viscosity is there. As a matter of fact, this 115 proof, in my opinion, has a longer finish.
It does. There's no doubt about it. Speaking of which, we've kind of got so wrapped up in, fanboying over this birthday bourbon, we kind of forgot where we were heading here, and that we're supposed to compare this with our 1915 that we did. So before we drink all this down and have to pour some more of Steve's whiskey,
that's why I keep you around.
let's take a minute. I'm going to kind of go back and forth a little bit between these two, and let's see if the internet rumors are true that the 1915. To me, the profiles are different, just based on what I remember.
Sure.
Versus it, but let's see how similar they may actually be.
Dude, the interwebs never lies.
Yeah, about anything, said Abraham Lincoln.
All right, so
there's so much.
Oh God, the butterscotch on this.
As I say, there's so much more of the kind of the creamy butterscotch on them.
That 115 is amazing.
Yeah, It's just a much sweeter expression. Now, what was this? This was.
It's like candy.
Did we say this was 98 proof? The birthday.
I didn't say.
I've
had a few, so.
Yeah, so this is a 98 proof, where the 115 or the 1915 is a 104 proof.
Dude, I mean,
I believe the 1915 is probably a smoother. Is a smoother.
Man, I hate to say this, Stephen. I'm sorry, but on the nose, this 115, the 1920 just jumps out at you.
Well, I guess it depends on what you like.
It is. It's all subjective.
There's a lot of the. There's
butterscotch, dude.
There's a lot of the butterscotch, but then the citrus in this one, where the birthdays has kind of that brown sugar and floral. The one thing that's unique to this one that we didn't have with the 1910 and 20 is that kind of floral, just a hint of floral that kind of floats in the background.
And for sure that the birthday bourbon gives that. I mean,
yeah.
I will say, okay, so maybe I'm a little harsh here. I don't mean to be too overly critical. The birthday bourbon is more complex.
There's no doubt.
No doubt about it. So if you're, looking for a complex bourbon on the nose and on the palate, this is hands down the better of probably of the blend and the 1910 and the 1920. But this 1920, I mean, dude, it jumps out at you. It's it's almost like a cupcake with butterscotch or something. I mean, it's just really sweet. I mean, which happens to be flavor profile that I like.
Yeah, it's got the sweet from the 93 and still the.
But the complexity on the birthday bourbon is to not you can't ignore it. It's there.
Unfortunately, nobody's going to be hiring us to be professional whiskey tasters anytime soon, probably. So
not even close.
This, I mean, if you'll remember in the description, there were about 18 different things that under the description, and
those perfume dudes, they can smell 74 different things. And
we picked out about 4.
We're from Arkansas. I'm from Sling County to even get more nitty gritty.
This is just an out. I'm going to tell you,
they're all really good, man. Like so a little bit of a backstory. My dad got me into bourbon. I was a Scotch guide to begin with, and he said one spring break, he's like, "Hey, we're going to go tour some distilleries in Kentucky." I was like, "All right, bourbon kind of tastes like gasoline, but whatever, I'll go." And over the years, I've begun to appreciate bourbon for what it is, and really. As it kind of blends with barbecue, I like the process of things. And bourbon has really opened my eyes to a different whiskey other than Scotch. I say all that to say this. I think there's probably a lot more that goes into the birthday bourbon than what goes into the 1920 or the 1910. And each one has something for everybody out there. I think if you're looking if you're a new bourbon drinker, new whiskey drinker, period.
This one right here was going to open up a lot to you. It's easy to drink. It's smooth. This is definitely either somebody who likes a lower, something that's a little smoother.
Yeah.
But for only being 93 proof, there's a lot to this one. So this would be a great bourbon, for somebody who's just getting into it to keep one of these around to have a really good one when the boys come over. For those that, like you and I, that are probably, we like a little bit more of the full proof, we like all the flavors, we like, the complexity of it, some of the barrel proof, cask strength stuff. The 120 is probably more going to be the dog you want to run with.
Yeah.
But now that we've done all this, we're about, I guess, to the end of our video. But we do have one more. We're lucky enough to have one more thing that we want to run by you here in a minute. Let us take a minute to kind of rinse out a couple glasses. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, we're back. We've got to clean up a couple glasses. It's crazy as we've kind of sat here and talked a little bit in the break. The more this birthday bourbon sits and opens up, gets a little oxidation in it. Good Lord, this is.
My opinion has changed a little bit in the last 20 minutes.
It keeps opening up more and more doors inside this bourbon to just beautiful things. It's really, really impressive.
Now, to keep in mind, this is the the neck pour of this bourbon.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, science behind it, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some oxidation that takes place. Is it, within 20 minutes? I don't know. But I can say, I hate to even go back on my original statement, but my God, this one is really complex and delicious.
It's really impressive.
It opened up, and I mean, we sat here for about 20 minutes, give or take.
My advice would be, if you ever get a chance and you're at a great steakhouse in a big city or something that's got a really good bourbon selection, and sometimes you can get them doing specials on some really high end stuff, and you can get them to pour you an ounce of this for whatever it is, some of the $40-50, whatever those guys charge sometimes. Everybody should do this once to experience it. It's outstanding. It's right up there with the best bourbons I've ever had.
As it sat, and sat there and kind of spent some time with it, even just like I said, just the 20 minutes, it's opened up. It's a lot better than what it was at first. So the neck pour, I mean, I don't know the science behind it, but I've always heard that it's not as good right off the bat, and you got to give it some time.
So to wrap up our Old Forester tasting for you guys today, we thanks once again to our buddy Stephen Reynolds over at Eagle Bank Mortgage. When he brought the birthday bourbon over, he also brought us the Old Forester President's Choice, and we'll cut here to a quick close up of the label so you can see it. We don't know anything about this, never really heard about it, but what it says, this bottle of Old Forester President's Choice was hand-selected by Campbell P. Brown, fifth-generation family member and president of Old Forester.
He's a handsome fella.
Well, it says it represents what we consider to be a singular expression of the world's finest bourbon. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, this is a selection aged 9 summers in barrel number 11. This rare bourbon was willfully bottled by the direction of the president at 57.2. So we've got 114.4 proof.
It's good, man.
Bourbon. It's called the President's Choice for the Distinguished Whiskey Drinker. I don't know if us old Arkansas country boys qualify as the Distinguished Whiskey Drinker or not.
Surprise.
But we're going to drink it anyway.
That's right.
And we're going to let you know what we think. Once again, thank you, Stephen, for sharing all this fancy whiskey with us.
Once again, sponsored by Stephen Reynolds Mortgage. If you're looking for a mortgage, you're looking for a refi, then click the link below, especially if you're in Southeast Conference area. Go Hogs, then he's your dude.
Okay, right off the bat, this has a more of a kind of a reddish hue.
Oh, absolutely.
More of that auburn hue, similar to the 1910.
That one's different from all the others.
Well, it's closer to the 10 than at least the other ones. It's more of an auburn than an amber.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah, so legs seem to hold well. You know what? It's got that butterscotch on the nose too. Like
Still trying to get the legs. Yeah, the viscosity there.
Yeah,
these Old Foresters, man, I don't know if it's a mash bill or what, but the legs on all of them have been phenomenal.
Well, when you've been making whiskey for 150 years,
you probably know what you're doing.
I guess you've learned a thing or two.
Oh, butterscotch right away.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's right off top. You can smell that.
Oh, yeah.
That brown sugar
It's,
butter.
the nose,
caramelly. The caramelly and butterscotch right off top.
Does the nose remind you of the
It reminds me of the 10
10?
a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's similar.
Like a step up.
Maybe a single barrel version or
Could be.
something like that. That's aged maybe a little longer.
I don't know much about that one. Did we?
We did not research this one. This one was kind of a last minute surprise.
Yeah.
So
we're from Arkansas. What do you want?
Y'all are learning as much about it right now as we are.
But I will say the butterscotch and the floral notes are almost equal on this one.
It does have a little bit of it may be a similar little. It's got more butterscotch than like the 10, but definitely has some of the floral like in the birthday. There's something else a little funny in there. Different than all the rest of them.
I would say what's the proof on this one? 98?
114.
114.
It's not, I will say for 114 proof, it doesn't have quite the heat that the 115
No,
does.
but
It's a mellower 114.
but at the same time, full flavored to me.
This has more got maybe something that some notes that you might see in a rye, maybe a lemongrass, maybe something like that. That's I think was the little bit different part that's in there
for sure.
The spice and lemongrass.
That's
is
what it is. It's got that peppery, earthy thing going.
But with the butterscotch kind of right on the initial nose, the initial palate.
It surprised me. You're right, because the butterscotch on the nose throws you off when it comes to the palate because you get a little bit of that rye.
This whiskey has been aged at least 98 months, so that's 8.5 years.
That could be a blend of That could be a blend of all of it. So 98 months. It means
it doesn't really say.
You don't have a true age statement on that one.
I suppose
Does it say how many summers?
It says at least age 9 summers. So I suppose the curious cat and me will go probably to the website and learn a little more. But I'll tell you.
Yeah, let us know if you know. Let us know in the description because I'd really like. to
make a comment if you know something about it. If you've had it.
Comments section.
I think the birthday bourbon is way more complex. A whole lot more doors to open in this one. I tell you what might be fun with this one would be to pour a bigger pour, about a 2-ounce pour, drink about half of it, and then
like the way you talk.
Then put 1 cube of ice in it and see what really opens up. That would be really cool with this one.
I don't think Stephen would hate that.
Yeah, except unless he's here, we probably better ask. But I like this President's. I'll be honest with you, folks. There's not a bottle on this table right now that I don't think is outstanding. For the money, these two
that you don't think isn't outstanding?
These ought to be daily drinkers for anybody. These two are, and I could not tell you the first thing about this, how much it costs or where to find it. But these are both probably higher end.
I will say I know a little bit about that. As you know, online prices are redonkulous. So this one goes for about $1,400 online. What our buddy paid, I don't know. So he doesn't get a divorce. I'm going to say he paid a lot less than that, Haley. And for this one, you're $1,000 or more online.
Well, and I've seen this one in the random liquor store here and there. I've seen the birthday bourbon for around $1,000.
Yeah.
I've never seen this one before.
I haven't either.
I tell you what, if this is $1,400 and the birthday bourbon is $1,000, I'm buying this every day.
I think I would too.
Yeah, I would.
No, I really like that one.
I do too, but honestly, I don't like it so much more than the mixing these two that it's worth, for $900 more or $1,300 more. It's just not worth it.
The whiskey market is really weird, and you're right. I don't know that it's worth the extra cost there.
So that's the rest of my birthday. And then this is my presidential.
There's almost a dryness to this one.
But it's got it's like a dry butter. This one's got that warm sugar in it.
It
whether
reminds
it be butterscotch or caramel or whatever it is.
For wine drinkers out there, and I'm not a wine snob by any means, but it reminds me of a really good cab. Yeah.
I like wine a lot.
But yeah, you're a wine dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that dryness that you get, but it's still delicious. Mm-hmm. This one lingers a lot too.
Honestly, I will say, I think this one. I think the finish on the presidential, it holds a little longer than the birthday.
There's no doubt.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
But I think I like the in the chew. I think I like the profile of the birthday best.
I think I do too.
Everything here is outstanding. I mean, thanks for having me over, man. This was great fun.
Absolutely.
Always enjoy drinking whiskey with you. We're good at it.
We're good at it. We certainly appreciate you stopping by Casks-n-Que, where whiskey and barbecue meet. Again, a big thank you to Stephen Reynolds with StephenReynoldsMortgage.com. He's with Eagle Bank here in Arkansas. Again, I'll provide the link in the description box below if you're looking at refinancing, if you're looking at a new mortgage, whatever it may be, or you just have a question, even if you're out of market, if you're in California, if you're in Ohio, whatever it may be, and you have a question about a mortgage, then hit me up and I'll get you in touch with Stephen. And who knows, maybe you'll get to drink a nice little bourbon with him. I'm Justin.
I'm Quentin May.
And this is
Casks-n-Que.
This is Casks-n-Que, where whiskey and barbecue meet. Thanks for stopping by.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.